Elsa Martinez Coscobala is an award-winning Filipino poet, short story writer, and playwright. She finished her AB and MA for creative writing at the Salle University and also a doctorate in language and literature from the Salle University. She is a multi-awarded artist. Her achievements include winning for more than 20 times the Carlos Palanca Awards, the prestigious Cultural Center Awards for playwriting. In 1996, she was named National Fellow for Drama by University of the Philippines Creative Writing Center. In 1982, the play Late Journey Home was given honorable mention in the Carlos Palanca Awards. A Struggle for Unity, a story wherein three siblings have done to face the problems in their lives. To escape the clutches of a controlling brother, they have to make a choice. Which of them weighs more? Successful career in the city or their home? Ladies and gentlemen, 11C Productions presents Late Journey Home.
I have to run over to the studio and move those pins Joe took to the milling site. How is Ed? I'm giving a scoop.
What incident?
Something about the strikers storming the gates.
Is anyone hurt?
I don't know. I'll have to check out the story with Joe. I left before it happened. I came right after the board issued the statement.
It's really that bad, isn't it?
The worst is yet to come. When management says they're ready to face a drawn-out shutdown, they mean exactly that.
I think they consider their own losses.
Losses? Losses? Whatever the mill loses would be a mere drop in the bucket. It's Magallanes, the big one. You can afford a shutdown for 1 or 2 years a year. It's the strikers who are losing it. The planters too. Heard some of the small ones who practically fallen off their souls as to hire trucks to haul their beans up north, or else to just rot in the fields.
It's so unjust. Some of the strikers' wives were interviewed on TV this afternoon. They look utterly miserable. You know, for the past 2 weeks, they've been subsisting on 2 meals a day. Rice, pot, and bones. Can you imagine? Some of their children stopped schooling. They say they can no longer afford the fare. It doesn't have lunch for them. It's ghastly.
I know.
Why can't the mill give them the 13th one pay they've been asking for? This mill is obviously making a lot of money.
The same reason people use when they won't give an inch. It's an old line called the principle of it.
Not the same. The mill could well afford it.
It's a test case, Lisa. They claim that inventors of all the sugar mills in the country, Magallanes should get in. Otherwise, all the other mills would be vulnerable to the same demands. You see, Magallanes has been giving the workers 2 bonuses a year, even before the 13th month came to effect. Now, the management considers the Christmas bonus as equivalent to 13th month pay, but the strikers insist otherwise. So, what they're really asking for now is a 15-month pay.
Even so, why most those people can barely live decently?
Oh well, it's a hot issue, but it's not our problem.
How can you say that? You've been covering the strike since it started.
What did I say?
You said that because you didn't care about all those people. And what misery they're going through.
Well, of course I feel for them. As a man, I do, but I can't get emotional over it. It's part of my job. Look, all I meant was there's nothing we can do about it. It's a labor problem. It'll have to run its course.
It's more than a labor problem, Pete. When I saw those faces on TV, old wives and nursing mothers, I just felt so bad. It was as though I had a stake on what they're fighting for.
How about asking your faculty club to press the college for signing entries.
That's not what I mean. No, I don't like your attitude.
What's wrong with my attitude? Look, I don't see where you're getting so uptight about this. You watch one TV interview and you start picking on me. Why?
Maybe it's because you're beginning to sound just like your brother. Maybe it's because your brother is a lousy, self-centered, egocentric son of a bitch. All these long talks you've been having with him fouled you up.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I mean it, Pete. You are getting to sound just like your brother.
You just don't understand, Tony.
Oh, I understand him well enough. I understand he's made it big. He's a big shot corporate lawyer with a suite of offices in some Makati high-rise. You know what? He is still a lousy son of a bitch.
I don't particularly enjoy you calling my brother names.
Why can't you stop here worshiping him for one thing? Why can't you see him for what he really is?
You just said he was a son of a bitch. What else is he?
Shit!
Look, I just been hard on your nerves, putting up with my brother all week. I know you've never liked him, but I don't see why you should be so antagonistic. What's he done to you?
What is he doing to us?
You tell me!
Alright. I hate the way he comes upon us from out of the blue. I hate the way he goes for our lives like a lousy prosecutor. As if we were a couple of witnesses under interrogation. It leaves me cold. I feel eternally violated.
You're worried I might decide to take his advice and move to Manila to get into advertising. You have nothing to worry about. We will not be leaving your church academe, your poet's refuge, this sanctuary of your soul.
He's really gotten into you, hasn't he? That's not what I'm afraid of.
For God's sakes, what is it?
Oh, I don't know. I can't pin it down. Ever since he got here, he seemed to have changed somehow. So you've lost something, or changed it to someone else.
Why do you despise him so?
Don't despise him, Pete. I'm afraid of him.
Afraid of him? He couldn't hurt a fly.
You are a great photographer, Pete. See meanings in everything you lay your eyes on. Lines, figures, shadows, significances. But you look at your brother. You're blind.
You are hysterical.
He's cold and unfeeling. Didn't come home when your father was dying.
He came!
For the funeral! His clients were more important to him than your father's wish to see him before he died.
He didn't realize Papa was dying.
He knew. He knew. It was I who called him long distance. Remember? I told him to take the first flight home because Papa was dying. You know what he said? He said he had an important trial. Couldn't afford to. We were probably overreacting. He'd come in a day or so. Pete, last night when your father was still alive, we left the hospital to take the boys home. I kept watch over him. He kept on begging, asking for Tony, asking what time it was, what day, what month, asking why Tony hadn't come yet.
You never told me about this.
I thought it would only hurt you.
Well, I'm sure Tony didn't mean it that way. The way it seemed to you.
That man is inhuman.
That's enough, Isa.
What's the matter, Pete? Are you afraid of your great bad brother?
God's sakes, just what are you trying to do?
You have to warn him, Pete. Can't you see that? If you don't see him for what he really is, he will destroy us.
You know something? You are crazy. Tony only wants the best for us.
What he thinks is best for us. By his standards, his values.
He's just showing a little concern, that's all.
By what? Barging into our home? Scrutinizing our cupboard? Our furniture? Our underwear? Telling us what underachievers we both are?
Is it wrong for him to be concerned? Look, Isa, my brother, was only 14 when Mama died. And on her deathbed, he swore to her that he'd take care of us. And that's what he did. And that's what he's still trying to do.
Pete, he's trying to run our lives. Scoffing at your job, how much or how little you make. I can't stand it. And it looks like I'm not the only one who can. Tina is pretty upset about how Tony thinks she and Vito should live their lives.
Oh? You and Tina have been talking about them behind his back?
Poor girl came to me tears this morning. Yesterday Tony went to see her. He couldn't resist telling her what he thought of her husband.
You make a fine sport, misinterpreting anything he says.
He's so blunt, he hardly leaves any room for that. He told Dina Vito was a fool for practicing at the provincial hospital. He could very well specialize abroad.
Can't you entitle him to a few opinions?
Not when his opinions, which happen to be largely unsought, hurt other people's sensibilities, Pete. He made your sister feel miserable. He doesn't seem to care how he upsets everyone in his way.
Okay, alright. I know there's no love lost between you and my brother, and that grieves me. But there's not much I can do about it, is there? I want you to understand that Tony's my only brother, and I'm going to resent the way you're trying to alienate him from me. Christ. I don't want to hear any more of this talk.
You can't go on choosing what you only wish to see.
You just can't stop, can you? Look, I'm going over to the studio. If Tony comes back, tell me back in a knock, or is that too much to ask?
Don't worry. I'll ask His Highness to hold court when you get home. He could have another endless audience for all I care.
God's sakes. It's his last night. Don't spoil it.
My hospitality is legendary.
Finally, just what I need. Still on duty.
Where's Pete off to? He's gone to see Joe. Tony's not here yet? He's still at the mill site.
I heard the mill issued a no negotiation statement today.
Yes, isn't that too bad?
Don't let Tony hear you say that or you'll be sorry. He'll unleash one of his speeches on you.
Isn't it funny? How we've learned to control our thoughts, feelings, and statements around what Tony might approve?
Almost criminal.
And I'm not supposed to say anything. After all, I'm just an in-law. I think the blow would stop if I did. Why can't you, Tina?
I don't know. Maybe because Tony's always right.
You just think so. Because nobody tells him he isn't.
Yeah, this is right.
It would just mess things up.
Oh, don't be so glum. You can always say what you feel and still be tactful about it.
He was always right, you know, when we were still kids.
You're not kids anymore.
I still feel a bit intimidated. And I feel awful that I'm married now. And Lito and I have our own plans for ourselves. Our own priorities. But when Tony tells us we're off the right track, just don't have the guts to argue and fight. You don't have the nerves to tell him to mind his own business.
Do you know her brother thinks I'm weird? We're not going to the US to worship the almighty dollar?
Yes, Tina told him.
Well, I told Dina not to get too distressed over it. I mean, why should we bother about what he thinks? We're happy with what we're doing. We're not gonna get too rich, but we're doing something important for us both. I mean, we're happy.
Makes me feel we're cheating ourselves out of something.
A lot of money, if that's what it means.
Yes, I know. He's been subjecting Pete and myself to just about the same thing.
Well, how's Pete taking it?
Oh, you know Pete. He's very good-natured. He just sits quietly listening to Tony, one way or another, laughing at all his stupid jokes. I sometimes suspect he actually worships Tony.
He was Tony's faithful follower. His sergeant's so what?
I imagine it must have been close.
You can say that again. See, when Mama died, Papa just started loud up. He's always been the quiet one. After Mama died, he just seemed to shut himself in. It was only then when he didn't really understand much of what was happening in their life. But it seems now that I've seen to see less and less of Papa. And it was Tony was always there. Just as Mama did if she hadn't died.
Looks like he's been carrying the mother hen role too far.
Do you know who's been brainwashing Pete to move to Manila? Take an advertising job and photographs his like cleaner on the side?
No kidding.
He was quite serious about it. You should have heard him. Why are you wasting your talent photographing small squatters, Mr. Carlos? You could make a fortune photographing socialites. And here's what he said. Esau, why don't you write scripts for movies? Have a couple of clients to produce movies. You could make a lot of money out of it. Thinks I'm... And I said, that thing an eyelash. What sort of movies? You don't mean those old movies with young starlets in them. And he said, why not? There's a kind of movies that make you kill it at the box office. Thinks I'm crazy writing poems for magazines nobody reads.
So, what did you tell him?
He said it was afraid it didn't have the talent.
What a character.
I can tell you, he's driving me nuts.
Tony's
Hello, Tony. I'll be back later.
Oh yes, Isa. I had dinner with the boys. Good to see you, Dina. How are you doing, Nico?
I'm fine, Tony.
Where's Pete?
Oh, he's gone to the studio to look at some print.
How long has he been gone?
About 15 minutes ago. Why?
Just ask it.
Well, got everything wrapped up, Tony?
Well, you could say everything's under control.
Looks like the strike's going to drag on.
Well, as far as we're concerned, we're not negotiating. Personally, I don't think the strikers can keep up the strike for long. When the funds run out, they'll go running by their guts.
so you're flying back to work.
First flight, Mila's going to the US and she won't forgive me if I don't see her off.
Doesn't she get tired of bringing immigrants over?
Oh, she enjoys it. It's good for her business.
Oh, did you know? Mila buys duty-free goods like ritzy shoes, bags, perfume, liquor, and jewelry. She brings them to the country and supplies a number of stores in the parking lot.
She put a Chinaman to shame. It was initially a small business, has grown amazingly well in just a few years.
But how does she manage to bring her goods in?
Well, she knows that some people have customs. She's very enterprising.
I'm sure she is.
A real go-getter. That's what I like about her. You know what? During the first few years we were married, we were just renting this walk-up in Paco. I was just an assistant with the law firm then, and she was handling some accounts for a travel agency. We had saved in some money, enough for a modest bungalow. Then Mila suggested something I never even thought about. She thought that buying a car would be better than putting our money on a house, which would yield absolutely no business returns. And so we did. A brand new one. Mind you, spelled one hell of a difference in both our careers.
So you've never been able since then.
Car plans were privileges reserved for the top men, and neither one of us was the top men. Anyhow, we tightened our belts and bought the car. I tell you, we impressed our boss. The brand new car seemed to say, these people are on their way up, and there's no stopping them. Contacts opened up, promotions came along, better offers came. Well, 2 years later, Mila got her own car. We've changed cars since then. I got myself a weekend, and she got herself a Mercedes, a real classic.
Well, It's good to see you've come such a long way.
Well, let's just say we didn't waste any time. And neither should you, Lito. Bacolod isn't a place for a young man who wants to get ahead of the pack.
I agree. Manila is where Tyler races from.
That's where you and Dina ought to be.
Well, we're not exactly keen on riding the rat race.
But what opportunities and advancement do you have here? I don't mean working your asses off just to get the medical directorship of the provincial hospital 10, 15 years from now. I mean real opportunities. You could be getting to a quagmire if you don't watch out. Why, there are countless other things you could do. You can specialize in the US. You know what? I heard my neighbor was able to build a mansion by just lifting eye bags. You can do that.
Tempting opportunities, I must admit. But actually, I didn't really go to medical school to lift faces, remove warts and eye bags. I wanted to work with people who had more serious problems, other than fallen shins and collapsed muscles. You know, people who can't even afford private doctors.
Huh. What you're doing is admirable, no doubt. But you're a married man now. Very soon, you'll have children to provide for. Think of your future.
You've thought of our future, Tony.
As what? Future? As overworked and underpaid government employees?
As overworked, underpaid, there's no denying that.
And in the end what? A pittance of a pension in your old days?
Perhaps.
You are being stubborn and foolish.
I know you worry because you care, Tony, but it's our life.
Well, indeed it is. But you can't say I didn't try to give you some good advice.
I know, Tony. I know.
Oh, looks like I'm afraid you have to get going. Still on duty.
I just came to say goodbye, Tony. We were loved to Millie and their kids.
You guys take care of yourselves now.
I see.
Don't make me keep you up, Lisa. I'll wait for Pete.
Okay, I'll wait.
Tony, we need to talk.
What's the matter, Pete? You're all shook up.
You keep out of this, Lisa.
Now what's all this about?
No games, Tony. Look, I have nothing against you being the accounts for the mill. That's your business. And I'd ask you not to interfere in my coverage of the strike.
Cool it,
Now
Pete.
you better tell your goons not to mess with me.
Hey, Pete, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Don't give me that crap.
Just what are you ranting about?
Christ, you're a real ham, aren't you? I'm talking about those thugs who broke into my studio and ruined the film Joe took this afternoon. But that's not all. They beat Joe into a bloody pulp, an innocent 19-year-old kid. And for one, now you better give me a good answer, because you're the company's bright boy.
Hey, cool it, Pete. I have no idea. I'm the company lawyer, that's all.
Oh, don't be too modest. You're the chief plotter, the master schemer. That's what they're paying you a fat fee for, isn't it? Ah, shit, can't you even fight clean?
Pete, you're the naivety boggles my mind. I have no idea what you're talking about. What?
You're fighting dirty, and you know it.
No one fights clean, boy. You better get that into your mind, or you'll hurt yourself.
I'm not a kid. You can fight it off with friends.
Be reasonable, will you? All they wanted was the film. Now if the kid gave him a lot of trouble, that's not my affair. Anyhow, there was no stopping his feet. Can't you see that? Everyone's been assaulting us with bad publicity. The airlines publish nothing but the strikers' alleged tale of woe. The nuns, priests, and social workers have taken the brew. What happened out there this afternoon wasn't our fault. The strikers stormed the gate, cut the power lines, and burned the painters. Now tell me, boy, were you really going to publish pictures of all those provocations? I'm sure you wouldn't, because those are the pictures that would arouse the public sympathy for your oppressed neighbors. So what were you going to publish then, huh? Pictures of company guards coloring provocators, pushing them up back with their sticks, firing warning shots in the air. I bet my ass these are the pictures we'd publish. Pictures that make us look bad. Now you take such gigantic pride in your being a professional. You tell me you're fair with prejudice, but your pictures betray your prejudices, Pete. You've chosen sides. You've been fighting us.
Is that what bumps you, Tony? That I've chosen sides? That I'm fighting you?
No! I'm not at all worried about your damn publicity. I don't give a shit about public opinion because I fight my battles in court. What galls me is your false pride, your smug self-righteousness. You come to the arena vowing fair play and journalistic distance. But look into yourself, Pete. You'll find you wear your prejudices like a second skin.
You're a fine man to talk about sex, kid, but you won't even see yourself in the mirror, no matter how long you look.
Well, at least I'm honest with myself. That's a lot more than you can say for yourself, boy. Look at me, Pete. I'm your brother. So those stupid idiots got rough, but well, they wouldn't have hurt you, Pete. Just lay off it. That's all.
Don't count on it.
Pete, you're being suicidal.
You know what? You really sold all yourself, Con. You're a common walking piece of merchandise. And no brand, no logo, no trademark. One lousy size that fits all, providing the price is right.
Be sensible, Pete. Really don't believe I changed all that much, do you?
I hardly know you anymore.
Tell me, Pete, how long have we seen each other these past 10 years?
I don't know.
4? 5 times?
What are you getting at?
Pete, you used to know me well. You trusted me, Pete. Remember that summer at the mill site? That summer I made you a real huge time. You flew in the air, running so fast, the strings got tangled by the bamboo. You ran all the way to tell me about it. And it was as if I was the only person who would get it for you. And I did get it for you, Pete. I bruised myself, climbing the swaying poles, but I did get it for you.
That was the summer Mama died.
How long ago it seems. But even though we haven't changed all that much, Pete,
You think of her still?
well, there are many things I wish to forget. Things I just wish never did happen. Still, these things stop us still in the late years.
Like Mama died so early?
That too. That, most of all. I suppose they already knew she was going to die. Living in a cramped mill site, worse than her asthma. There were times, Pete, when I could hear her in the middle of the night, grasping in the next room, struggling for air. Times when she would beg Papa to leave his job, to take us someplace else. Anywhere where she could have some clean air. But he never listened to her, Pete. He kept on hanging on to that lousy job as if it was the brightest job in the world. A payroll clerk. A lousy payroll clerk.
He was a good man.
He had no guts, no nerve, no drive. A small timid man, but no self-esteem, no sense of responsibility.
That's not true.
Through the years, his friends rose from ranks. He never did.
He took no bribes, asked no favors.
He was not a good father, Pete.
I loved him.
You were too young to have seen him for what he was. But I saw him for what he really was. What good or bad did he, I cannot tell. But
How can you say such things?
because they're true, Pete. They're true. You know what? I was his firstborn, and you know what I wanted him to be? A mechanic. A lousy mechanic. But I fought him, Pete. I fought him. Because I knew I wanted to be a lawyer, with or without his help. Oh, he saw me through my bachelor's degree, alright. So I told him I wanted to go to law school. He told me that was as far as he could go. I wore my feet out, delivering electric bills and reading electric meters to send you to school and enable Dina to take the nursing board exam in Manila.
He was hardly a man of
He
me.
was hardly a man, Pete, but you never saw that because I was there to make up for what he was.
No one is perfect. It's not fair for you to judge him by his shortcomings.
A man is judged by his deeds, Pete, by his deeds. When Mama died, you know what? I thought he'd take care of us. He only thought about himself. He only thought about his pain. He never tried to even think of ours. So you and Dina came to me with your little wound. I didn't even know how to heal. Because you know what? Mainly, I was hurting too. There were times when Dina would wake up in the middle of the night, wandering around the dark, empty house. There There were even times when you would eat your meals or speak with your friends for days. And the terrifying time when Dina awoke to find blood on her sheets, and I didn't even know what to do because I did not know what it meant. There were nights when I felt so broken up. There were even nights I felt I just wanted to be near him, but he was never there for me. He'd crawl home at the middle of the night, spewing his vomit on the stairs. But you, both of you, you were spared from all these things because I was there to make up for what he wasn't.
How can he say such things?
Because they're true, Pete. They're true. There are many things I wish really never did happen, Pete. But still, this thing haunt me through the years.
That may be so. But you did honor our father.
He never did make it possible for me to love him.
You knew he was dying, and you refused to come. You knew, didn't you?
Yes!
Did you?
Yes, I knew! Fine! I knew, Pete, I knew! Yes, I knew, Pete. You! Oh God, Pete! Forgive me! I knew all the time.
Faith ko as Lima, Luigi Gonzaga as Tony, and Daniel Gonzalez as Lito. Props, Jumea Baca, Andres Bayona, Franco Rabina, and Leo Ruiz. Famil Migo and Jennifer Sugudakiel. We would also like to thank technical managers Christian Senora, Christian Son, and Jennifer Mann.